the media, the mainstream media, is even being forced at this moment in time to call it all out for what it is. Because you get a guy who's perjured himself over and over and over again on the stand testifying against Trump. I mean, I'm sorry, but when Stormy Daniels and Michael Cohen are your key witnesses, it tells me, Alvin, buddy, you don't have much of a case here. And I'm not even a lawyer. You know, I'm an economics person. We can talk markets. We can talk interest rates. I'm not a lawyer. But this is so freaking obvious to anyone. You can see this a mile away. And yet we had to come to this. They're embarrassing themselves in real time. Ladies and gentlemen, they're embarrassing themselves. And so is this MSNBC anchor who had to get called out by his own guest saying, you know, what you just said doesn't really make sense. And here is why. Watch it on the likes of MSNBC. Here we go.
His surreptitious audio recordings. And can I offer a couple thoughts on the opening?
Yeah.
Okay. Michael Cohen keeps saying that he lied on Donald Trump's behalf. That is only true with respect to his lies to Congress.
Right.
He lied to the Justice Department. He lied to the IRS. He lied to banks. None of that was for Trump. All of it was for him. And after the court decision you read, which was indeed favorable to Michael Cohen, a couple of months later, a federal judge concluded that he had perjured himself. So the whole story of Michael Cohen's credibility in history is more complicated than I think people even have the ability to process.
Wait, so then given what you just said, how worried, if you were on the prosecution's team tonight, right now, how worried would you be about Cohen's testimony tomorrow or this coming week?
I wouldn't be so much worried about tomorrow, or because the first day or two, presumably the prosecution will be putting him on and they will likely have had a sort of plan worked out. It's the cross that's going to be the problem. And I don't know, anyone who's seen Michael Cohen on television, I mean, this is not a man who's terribly composed or, I don't know, as cognitively fluent as he would like to believe he is. I don't know. I don't have a nicer way to say it. Anyway, he could easily be taken apart during cross-examination. And if he blows up, right, and starts railing against whoever and just going off the cuff, because he's going to be up there for hours, potentially days on cross. Like, is he going to be able to hold it together? I don't know. He doesn't seem to me to have a lot of self-control. And most of the key witnesses in the case have already dumped all over him before this.
I was going to ask about his being prolific, you know, the memoir, the podcast, everything.
All terrible ideas for a witness.
Okay, so there's a former federal prosecutor saying, you know, I wouldn't put all your eggs in this basket. Because even if he can get through today, what happens in the cross-examination? What happens as this moves forward? Already, everybody's trashed him. I mean, Hope Hicks the other day, the former assistant, then turned sort of main person for Donald Trump at the White House. Hope Hicks came out and said, like, this guy was no good. She never knew him to ever look out for anybody but himself. And so this is already in the jury's mind, right? They've already been sort of effectively colored with an impression of who Michael Cohen is. And he was willing to lie before to help dig himself out of a ditch. Who says he's not lying now? By the way, has anybody proved that it wasn't him, entirely him, that made the deal all on his own with David Pecker from the National Enquirer? I mean, they've yet to even prove a crime.